There comes a moment in every chosen one's life that feels like a disappearance. You stop getting calls. Your inbox is silent. You walk into rooms and feel like a ghost. It's not because you've done something wrong. It's because heaven has pulled you into a hidden place, a place of isolation, a sacred wilderness. And while it may feel like punishment, it's actually preparation. You see, before elevation, there must be separation. Before destiny, there must be development. You cannot rise until you've been refined. And refinement doesn't happen in crowds. It happens in the quiet, in the empty spaces, in the seasons where it's just you, God, and the weight of your calling. You weren't called to be like everyone else. That's why your path has never looked like theirs. While others seem to coast through life with ease, you were handed battle after battle. But not to destroy you, to train you. Because what's coming for you, what's assigned to you, is too heavy for untested hands. And so, God removed the distractions. He stripped away the noise. He isolated you, not to abandon you, but to bring you face to face with the truth of who you are. Chosen ones don't rise from comfort. They rise from the ashes, from the heartbreaks, from the betrayals, from the nights they cried out in silence and got no response. It's in that loneliness that your character is forged. It's where your discernment sharpens, where your connection to the divine becomes unshakable. In the world's eyes, you disappeared, but in heaven's eyes, you were being discovered. You were pulled away from people not because they were bad, but because they couldn't go where you're going. Not everyone is meant to understand your process. Not everyone is supposed to witness your becoming. Some people were only meant to know the old version of you, the one who tolerated less, who doubted themselves, who hadn't yet stepped into their power. But that version of you is gone, and the real you, the one with divine authority and purpose, that version needs isolation to be unlocked. Don't confuse being alone with being lonely. What you're experiencing is sacred. It's holy. You're being hidden in plain sight, like Moses in the desert, like David in the fields, like Jesus in the wilderness. Every chosen one must go through the season of silence, the season of obscurity, the season where the world forgets your name, so God can write it in places the world can't erase. In this season, everything will be tested. Your faith, your patience, your trust. You'll start to wonder if you heard God correctly, if your dreams were just fantasies, if your purpose is just a myth. But hear this, the silence is not God's absence, it's His focus. He's working on you in ways you can't see. He's strengthening what the world tried to break. He's repairing what trauma tried to destroy. He's aligning your steps, removing what can't serve you, and building the version of you that is equipped to handle the next level. The rise always follows the solitude. But here's the truth. Some people will only meet you after the rise. They won't know the nights you wept, the friends who left, the battles you fought alone. They'll see the glory but not the grind. They'll applaud your fruit but never know your roots. But that's okay. You didn't suffer for show. You suffered for strength. And the strength you've built in secret will be your weapon in public. In this sacred alone time, you'll find your true voice. The voice that doesn't bend to please others. The voice that doesn't shrink to fit in. The voice that speaks with clarity and conviction because it's been through fire and survived. You'll discover that you don't need crowds to validate you. You don't need applause to feel worthy. You are whole without them. Because when God isolates, He also elevates. And something powerful happens when a chosen one stops resisting the isolation and starts embracing it. You start to hear things you couldn't hear before. You start to feel divine direction. Your intuition becomes louder. Your spirit becomes more aligned. You start to realize that being alone isn't a curse. It's a classroom, a training ground for warriors, a sacred womb where purpose is birthed. So if you're in that place right now, alone, forgotten, misunderstood, know this. You're not being buried. You're being planted. And what grows from this season will be unshakable. People will wonder how you made it. how you kept going, how you came back stronger, wiser, more powerful than ever before. But they'll never know what happened in the dark. They'll never know the nights you fought demons they couldn't see, the hours you spent crying out to a God they don't believe in, the inner battles that nearly took your soul. And they don't have to, because what you're building now doesn't need validation. It just needs obedience. Obedience to the call, obedience to the process, obedience to the silence. You are not crazy for being alone. You are not cursed. You are not forgotten. You are being consecrated. God isolates before He elevates. And chosen ones, those who carry divine assignments, must be stripped of everything that isn't truly them. Every false identity, every toxic connection, every lie they've believed about themselves, until nothing is left but truth. Raw, powerful, undeniable truth. That's what this season is about. So don't rush it. Don't try to fill the silence with noise. Sit in it. Learn from it. Let it reveal what needs to be healed. Because when you rise, and you will rise, you'll do it with a foundation so strong, no storm can shake it. This is your time, your preparation, your private consecration before public elevation. Heaven knows your name. The earth is waiting for your voice. And though you walk alone now, soon the world will know exactly why. The loneliness you feel right now, chosen one, isn't ordinary. It's divine. It's been divinely orchestrated. It didn't happen by mistake. It was heaven's strategy. Because your assignment is rare, your preparation must be rare. You're not meant to be surrounded by noise when God is trying to shape your voice. You're not meant to be wrapped up in distractions when your soul is being refined like gold in the fire. Everything you're going through is part of a supernatural design. Your isolation is your womb of transformation. Others may laugh, mock, or question you during this time, but they can't see what's growing beneath the surface. They can't comprehend that your silence is full of movement, that even though you seem still on the outside, your spirit is advancing in ways the world can't track. When you're truly chosen, you're not allowed to grow like the rest. You're not allowed to skip the pain. You're not allowed to bypass the shedding. God loves you too much to let you ascend without foundation, because what you're carrying is holy. What you're carrying will shake the very ground others walk on. So it must be protected, nurtured, tested, and yes, even hidden. Some of the people who left your life weren't bad people. They were just not anointed to walk where you're walking. They didn't have the vision, the capacity, or the spiritual endurance to handle the next version of you. And if they stayed, they would have stunted your growth, poisoned your potential, or convinced you to shrink back into a smaller identity. So God, in His mercy, removed them, not to punish you, but to preserve you. Let that sink in. Your separation isn't rejection, it's redirection. Heaven is shielding you from relationships, environments, and patterns that would have derailed your destiny. You're not alone because you're unlovable. You're alone because God's love is too deep to let anything shallow remain around you. He's calling you higher. And when God calls you higher, He first calls you away. Away from noise, away from validation, away from everything you once leaned on that was never meant to sustain you. He breaks your crutches so you learn to walk in faith. He closes the doors you begged Him to open so you realize not every opportunity is divine. And He removes the voices you depended on so that you can finally hear the one voice that truly matters. This journey you're on is not for the faint of heart. That's why you've cried so much. That's why it's been so quiet. That's why nothing seems to make sense. Because you're not walking the normal path. You're walking the path of the called, the marked, the anointed. You're being taught how to carry weight in the spiritual realm. And that training doesn't happen in crowds. It happens in caves. Think of every major biblical figure. Before David became king, he was in the fields, alone. Before Moses led a nation, he wandered the desert, alone. Before Jesus began His ministry, He fasted 40 days, alone. You are not the exception to divine pattern. You are the continuation of it. And your isolation is proof that something extraordinary is being birthed through you. This is the time to surrender, not resist. The more you fight the silence, the more it hurts. But when you lean into it, when you trust that it's not punishment, but protection, everything changes. You begin to hear God in ways you never have. You begin to see your purpose with clarity. You begin to recognize how deeply loved you are, even when no one's around. And then something even deeper happens. The loneliness begins to feel like a blessing. You start to realize that you were never really alone. God was there all along. In the weeping, in the waiting, in the long nights where you thought you were forgotten. He was shaping you, holding you, whispering things into your soul that only the quiet could reveal.